Hey there, folks. Welcome to Wednesday, March 5th. Chris Himes, did you watch? It's not the State of the Union, but it was Trump's speech to the joint session of Congress last night. I watched the whole thing. I just
Yeah.
thought it was unbelievable.
Yeah, it was unbelievable. I mean, I think I watched the highlights, and then I think I spent more time looking at the reaction and the memes. It's almost
It was all highlights.
yeah,
It
it
was
was kind of
wall
amazing.
to wall highlights. I'm sending out an email today to the list or whatever, to my email list, ericmetaxas.com. And that's a good time to remind you folks, if you're not on that list, ericmetaxas.com, the emails now about twice a week, we're sending out an email. It has links to all the videos of all the interviews that I'm doing in case you're missing some of them. I'm sure you are, and all kinds of other stuff. So that's ericmetaxas.com. If you click on it, you can sign up for the newsletter. But the speech yesterday, it was absolutely unlike anything we've seen. I mean, I've lived a long time. I've watched a lot of State of the Union speeches. And I remember when Obama was president, at the end of his term, um, he was challenged. Some congressman said, like, you lie or something like that. And people acted like a mushroom cloud came over Washington, D.C. It was like, oh my God, how dare you interrupt the president? This is a bipartisan moment, blah, 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 blah. Well, what we saw yesterday, the Democrats, I mean, there's a few headlines here, but one of those is, which I'll get to in a moment, and we'll talk. By the way, we're going to bring on Kevin McCullough to discuss this. He's our go-to guy on this stuff, so he'll come on the next segment. But the bitterness, the petulance, the childishness of the Democrats has just gone through the roof. I never thought in my life I would see adults, elected representatives, sitting in the chamber acting like children. I mean, it's unbelievable, frankly. They were
Well, you
holding up
remember when
little signs.
Nancy Pelosi ripped up the speech behind Trump, and it's like it's so satisfying because Trump is literally ripping up Nancy Pelosi now with his speech.
That's the point, is
Yeah,
that they are
pitch
apoplectic.
perfect.
There's a good word. They are apoplectic. Um, they don't know what to do. They have painted themselves into a bitter corner. Donald Trump could say, I believe that America is a great nation. They would not applaud. He could say anything. They've painted themselves into a corner, bitter hatred of Donald Trump. That's basically all that unites them. So yesterday, he played them by saying all of this wonderful stuff, highlighting people in the gallery. A 13-year-old black kid who has survived brain cancer. This 13-year-old has more common sense than all the Democrats combined. They could not applaud when this 13-year-old who has been through hell is there with his father. He, I mean, it's such a moving thing. The Democrats could not applaud him. They could not stand. They couldn't unite behind the idea that it's a beautiful moment for this 13-year-old kid who survived brain cancer to be said. They could not applaud that. They could not applaud when Laken Riley's mother, Laken Riley, murdered at age 22, murdered by a gang member, illegal alien gang member. Her mother is there. Imagine what it's like for this mother, and for the mother's other daughter was there. The Democrats couldn't applaud that. They couldn't. It is mind bending stuff that Trump has driven them all insane. They've just gone insane. And I mean, when I saw this, I thought, this is so childish that it's comedic. They were holding up little signs. It was just unbelievable, little signs. Musk steals. Oh yeah, the richest man literally in the history of the world steals. Yeah, yeah, he needs to steal, like, obviously, according to them. He steals. The whole thing was just comedic, but I guess the most amazing thing to me was Trump is such a pro that he was like, it was like a cat playing with a mouse. The Democrats just played into his hands. He would say something at some point. He brilliantly said, all these people here, because this is my fifth time here, all these people here, no matter what I say, they will not applaud. They will not, and he sort of shamed them. And then a few times he called them out. At some point, he said something about liberal lunatic policies, and he literally pointed at all of them. I mean, it was political theater. I knew that it was. I posted on Instagram yesterday. It was just unbelievable. It was unbelievable. I can't wait to hear what Kevin has to say.
Yeah, he literally called out Elizabeth Warren by her moniker Pocahontas, which was hilarious.
It's funny. It's kind of like Ricky Gervais a few years ago. He says, because I just don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Trump doesn't care. It's like, what are you going to do that you haven't already done? What are you going to do if I call you Pocahontas? You're going to do something worse than you've already done? You're going to try to put me in jail? I think you tried that. How'd that work? At some point, he talks about the lawfare, the weaponization of the Department of Justice, and he says, weaponizing it against their their political opponents. Uh, and he says, like me. And then he says, how'd that work out? And he goes, not too good, not too good. I mean, he is standing there like a colossus, a political colossus. He's defeated all his enemies, and he is standing there. Behind him, there's no Nancy Pelosi, grinding her dentures. We have Speaker Johnson. We have J.D. Vance, both of whom could not stop grinning because the whole thing was so delightful. I mean, if there was a camera on me during this beat, Suzanne and I were howling with joy because it's so that he would say one thing after the other and you would just howl for joy. It was absolutely unbelievable. And I think it's safe to say we really have never seen anything like this moment in political history. We have the greatest return political comeback in the history of the nation. There's nothing to compare to it, frankly. There's nothing to compare to it. And Trump has so brilliantly marginalized the opposition that they will not applaud or stand for anything. I
It
mean,
was
you
very,
could
yeah, I was
any
gonna say it was very sweet when the boy got his honorary Secret Service badge. He gave the guy a big hug. I mean, it was like to not clap and stand up for that. You're clearly under some sort of spell.
but they kind of are. They're kind of paralyzed by bitterness. They're just again, it's a level of childish, um, petulant behavior. I think of what's a classical reference? Achilles in his tent, brooding, because Agamemnon, took his war concubine, brooding, bitter. I didn't think I was going to go there, by the way. Didn't think I would be mentioning Homer, but you just try to think of what is the classic bitterness. You think of Ahab in Moby Dick, just consumed with bitterness, consumed, obsessed, willing really to die in that state. They're just not looking for any kind of redemption, any way out. When people say that the Democrats, they have to find a message. No, they don't. They can't. There is no message. There is no message. He's right. We're wrong. That's the message. If you say that, you're getting get people suddenly listening to you. Like, oh, really? You have the guts to admit that? Okay. All right. If you have the guts to admit that, tells me something about you, and I'm willing to hear more. They are not even close to that, and Trump was goading them. It's just, it was delightful. I don't know where we go from here. Anyway, we're going to be right back. I hope with Kevin McCullough. Some of you know him as Votestradamus. We'll be talking to him, either Votestradamus or Kevin McCullough or both. We don't know who's going to show up. We'll be right back.